with Alex Cosper and Sam Kadur and Mike Halloran, and somewhere in the building's Max Tolkoff.
Somewhere in the building is Max Tolkoff.
We might be talking with our guest about censorship. You know, I think that's a deep topic.
If he calls in, which would be kind of great.
But we're up against Bernie Sanders, who's in L.A. right now.
Bernie was here yesterday.
That's
right.
In
San Diego yesterday.
And I didn't even know. I found out after the fact.
So tell me, you have guests coming up in a few weeks. You've got a bunch of X91X people.
That's right. Next week it's Rob Tonkin, and he did promotions at 91X.
He did?
Till when? What, 90s or 80s, late 80s?
I'm thinking late 80s, and he left. Get your headphones.
You can't talk. You can't
Max,
talking about 91X.
Every week we talk about 91X.
We're all incorrect about all the timelines.
Sam's going to go fix your...
So Howie hasn't called in yet, right?
No.
Okay, so, Rob was like this kind of like, hey, this is how we do things.
Yeah.
This is when I learned how... Do you remember how many stickers you guys printed every year at 91X?
No, I don't. Do you?
Rob told me about 1 million 91X stickers got done almost every year because Rob was one of the first guys to do the sticker backs that were sponsored by everybody from, record companies to, obviously you were part of that, right? You would put coupons in the back of stickers?
Yeah. Well, look, first of all, Rob, before he was doing 91X, he was attached to the Mighty 690. He was he wasn't even like the head of promotions. He was sort of like the intern guy that did all the contesting stuff for the Mighty 690. San Diego, it was hard to get interns. And I don't think we could not pay them. I think we had to pay them a small stipend.
I got into radio through an internship at Sac State where Rick Carroll went. Yeah.
That's why Max and I are here right now. I think, because we know because Alex is going to take over ABC.
Hey, that's funny you should say that because I DJ'd the wedding of the current president of ABC TV programming.
Look at that. See, what did I tell you, Max?
Her name's Channing Dungey. She's the very first African-American female ever to hold that position in the television industry.
That is phenomenal. And what did you play? Did you play Prince?
It was more of a hip-hop type urban vibe wedding, and I mixed it up, but her sister, the way I got the gig was her younger sister, Marin Dungey, who's a TV actress who's been in several shows. She was my intern at Quad in Sacramento at the same high school that Rob Tonkin went to.
And you were nice to the interns.
That's right.
That's good to know.
And she taught me a lot about alternative music.
That is phenomenal.
Green Day used to listen to us. I met them at the K-Rock Weenie Roast in 1994, and they were like, "Yeah, Quad, we listen to that all the time," because it would just boom into Rodeo, the places where they, hung out. And that was cool to me. I thought, wow, someone in the Bay Area listens to a Sacramento station.
Well, Sacramento's really not that far away.
That's true.
No, it's not.
And it's in a valley, so the signal's awesome. You know? I noticed driving around here, it's a lot because of the hills.
You get Quad here?
I was always amazed that Sacramento could be home to an alternative station. That amazed me.
Yeah, it took a while.
Years.
Well, it had a Rick Carroll station in the 80s. It was K-pop, but it only lasted 6 months. And then we played around with alternative kind of in '89 during the Rock 40 era, but that flopped, And then 91, we were still a CHR reporter, but in other words, top 40. But we drew from the alternative world for 2 years. Then we went all alternative, and that's when our ratings took off, and we beat the rock station.
Alternative or semi-alternative? Howie finally calling in?
Not yet. Oh, speaking of Howie, and I was talking about Green Day. Well, they were on Reprise Records, which was headed by Howie Klein back in the '90s. He actually became the general manager in '89, and then the president in '95, and he held that position till 2001. And he's calling in today, possibly, but it might get pushed back to another day because, well, Bernie Sanders is in L.A. right now as we speak.
What does that have to do with the price of chicken legs? What does that have to do with anything? You know who started Reprise, right?
Frank Sinatra.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Howie Klein on the line. Hi, Howie.
Hello.
Howie Klein, former president of the Warner label Reprise Records, calling in. And also you owned 415 Records. That was awesome, out of the Bay Area. And you were the first punk DJ in America, right?
I don't know about that. But,
You're on KSAN.
I certainly had with my partners had the first punk show that was on a commercial station. So sometimes I would argue with Oedipus in Boston. But he at the time he wasn't at BCN when he did his punk show. He was on a college station, and then I also would argue with Rodney, but he didn't really do a punk show. I mean, Rodney did an English show, and they were both punk artists and non-punk artists. Like he would be just as happy to play the Sex Pistols, an English artist, or the Rod Stewart, an English artist. He just he played English stuff. So. They say that they were on, before me, but, they don't meet the criterion that I was talking about when I said I did the first punk show on a broadcast network.
Okay, so then didn't you interview the Sex Pistols early on?
Yeah. Well, they came to San Francisco and did their last show there.
Winterland.
I had met them when I was in England, and they felt comfortable coming on the show just as they were breaking up, basically, and we did them on two stations, KSAN in San Francisco and KSJO in San Jose. And on the KSJO show, they got me fired.
Oh, really?
Using lots and lots of dirty words and stuff.
Wow.
And so the program director of the station got so much pressure from the community that he had to do we have to let you go for a couple of weeks and then we'll hire you back on again.
Howie, we're only going to talk for about 10 minutes today, but I want to know if you can do this show in 2 weeks on coming up in 2 Saturdays at 3 p.m.
In theory, absolutely yes.
Okay, we'll just kind of pencil it in for now because I would like to have a full interview about your career because it's fascinating.
Happy to do it anytime.
Awesome, because you...
I wrote you a note, actually, and the key is to call me.
Okay. So you left your phone number in the note?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you by any chance at Bernie Sanders today in L.A.?
No, I wanted to go to Bernie Sanders today. It's not even that far from where I live.
Yeah.
That I couldn't go because of your show.
I know you're a writer and you're busy. I'm a writer too, and so's Max Tolkoff. So we know what it's like to really get into writing and keep on writing. Was it for your blog, Down with Tyranny?
Yeah, I was writing something and just you just sort of get absorbed into it. You forget where you are, what planet you're on, what time it is, what day it is.
Right.
And you're just there in the writing. And then I looked up and, I think I was supposed to call a little while ago. That's why I wrote you this note telling you that.
Okay.
You probably didn't see it yet. No, in fact, I'm sure you didn't see it because you didn't realize I left you my phone number.
Right.
But what I said basically is that all of the radio shows that I do with people, they will know after hard experience that unless they call me, it doesn't happen because I never remember. It's the same with conference calls.
Okay.
I never remember to get on a conference call.
All right. Well, how about with Nicole Sandler?
She calls me every time.
Oh, is that right? Every Thursday night?
Every Thursday, yes. Every Thursday she calls me. And all the ones I do, they call me just because I'm, like I said, I just get absorbed into what I'm doing.
I know you're on the Real News Network sometimes as a guest. That's a really cool show. I like that. Or the network.
Yeah, they are. That is. In fact, now that I think about it, I think I'm supposed to do like a on camera interview with them. I don't know if I guess it must be coming up because that.
But I saw, one interview, you just cracked me up like it was in 2006. You were talking about the 2000 election. You were almost going to vote for Nader, but Al Gore had convinced you maybe that, the election had gotten close, so you went with Gore, and you were explaining how you hated Lieberman because he was a phony, total fraud, like a Republican.
Yes. And that's funny because today I was writing for my blog a thing about comparing Joe Lieberman with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Because to me, they were always the same person. There was literally no difference between Joe Biden and Joe Lieberman. They were exactly the same.
Right.
The difference now is people say, oh, Joe Biden must be great because he worked for Obama or he was vice president for Obama. But no, he was terrible.
Right.
He was as bad as you can be and still be a Democrat.
He's a warmonger.
I don't think most Democrats understand that yet. Hopefully they will before it's too late. Joe Biden and Joe Lieberman, one and the same. disgrace for the Democratic Party.
Total phonies. You know, I'm curious what Joe Biden whispers in women's ears all the time in those photographs. I mean, that guy's a creep.
He is so creepy. In fact, I just ran this picture of him. I looked for a creepy picture of him with Stacey Abrams, and it was like took me about 1 second to find it. And there it was, him like his hands all over her, and whispering to her. It was horrible.
Yeah, man. What do you think about 2020? Though, I've got Bernie at the top of my list at the moment, but what do you think? Or is it too early?
Yeah, I'm 100% a Bernie guy. I mean, someone I went out with, believe it or not, for dinner last night with an evangelical pastor, and we spent like a lot of time, a lot longer at dinner than I would normally spend because we just talked and talked and talked, and he was saying, how sometimes somebody because you drink the same water that they do. That was like a saying. And I thought about that and said, yeah, I mean, I feel, even though I mean, I've met Bernie a couple of times, I don't really know him as a person, but I feel like I really do because we lived in the same neighborhood. We went to the same elementary school. We went to the same high school. His family came from Eastern Europe at around the same time that my grandparents came from Eastern Europe. Like we drank the same water.
Wow. And
I'm completely, sold on him. If Elizabeth Warren winds up as the nominee instead, I'm not going to cry. I think she'd make an amazing president as well. But I feel like, I don't have that much longer to go. I've had some health problems. I'm old. And I'm thinking this is my last chance, or one of my last chances, to have a great president, like on a level of Franklin Roosevelt kind of president. Yeah. I feel like after Roosevelt, we've had all mediocre presidents. Some obviously better than others, some really terrible, not mediocre, but really bad, but none that were really great.
Well, I hope...
Obama was okay. I kind of liked him, but not even close to a great president. So I'd like to have a great president. I know Bernie would be a transformative great president. I feel the same about Elizabeth Warren. She would be as well.
The network's cutting us off, but we'll do a conversation at some time in the future. All right, maybe in a couple weeks.
Great. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Howie Klein.
Reprise.
One thing that we loved, I think Underworld was on the same label, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't Underworld on the same label?
I don't remember.
Reprise? Yes, they were on Reprise.
Right.
Yes.
They came down to this session here in San Diego, and they ended up becoming one of the most influential underground bands on the planet.
Wow.
NASA. Look that up. So next week when we're sitting here, or I'm sitting here.
Yeah. Are you going to be here next week? Because Rob Tonkin's calling in. But you'll be back in 2 weeks,
Why is
right?
Rob calling in? Why don't we have him here?
Well, he's in L.A.
So he's a Sacto boy originally?
That's right. We went to high school together.
I'm so sorry. So sorry you had to do
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
And he was a DJ too, a mobile DJ. He was on the radio at
Party
age
Sounds.
at
Party
age
Sounds,
15.
ladies and gentlemen.
He was the youngest DJ in Sacramento history, just about. He was on the air at 15.
Company, wasn't it?
That was
Party
his company.
Sounds?
Party Sounds.
That was Party
Yes,
Sounds.
yes, Party Sounds. So I wish we could keep on talking all day, but the network is about to cut us off as we go into a cannabis show called The Wide World of Weed, coming up next on WSRadio.com.